meeting etiquette. Now, first thing that comes to my mind when I talk about meeting is business card. Your business card, in a way, is you. It represents you. So the things that you need to keep in mind about your business card is, number one, you should always have it in the first place, because you never know who can you find. There can be someone that you might just find suddenly who can be of help to you, or someone that you can be help of. Okay, always remember to carry a business card, and remember, have it in good shape and update it. Okay, if you've printed your business card 2 years back and then you've added your qualification, then in that case it's not updated. So keep it updated, keep printing them regularly. All right, and remember that to take care that they are in good shape and their edges are not rubbed off and their edges are not kind of folded. Okay, and also have it readily available. So don't keep it in pockets where you don't know where it is. Right, keep here or in the bag where you know. Have a fixed place where you keep it, so that whenever you need it, you can just look into that pocket or into that in your bag and just take it out and just give it right away. Okay, and be selective about distributing. Just because we have a card does not mean that we have to give it off to everybody whoever we see, and to all the clients. No, everybody may not need it, and it just loses the respect if you just keep on giving it to everybody. So remember, be very selective about distributing a card. Present in an appropriate way and present at the appropriate time. When you meet someone, you give your card, you present your card. Or when you are actually partying, you give your card. That's when you do it. Or when you are in conversation, they ask you, that's when you give the card. Not randomly at any point in time. And there's a way to do it, right? So you give your card like this with respect. Okay. Now, in a meeting, the things that you should avoid are: one, you should avoid swear words or any vulgar references. It is absolutely not acceptable, and it is absolutely opposite of how you should behave. Okay. Now, also, I think some people have this nature of getting personal. You're not supposed to get personal. Don't ask personal questions. People do not like it. Please. Okay. If somebody tries to do that with you and you're comfortable and they're comfortable, then you can go ahead and have discussions and you can build rapport. But otherwise, please, if nobody initiates, you don't initiate. Don't get too personal with people. Remember, cell phones are the biggest distractions. So remember to keep it switched off. And if you're not switching it off, then remember to please keep it on silent mode or vibration mode. Ideally, keep it switched off in important meetings. Okay. Now, when someone is in charge of the meeting, what are the things that they have to keep in mind? Number one, if you're leading the meeting, arrive early, please. You need to see things around. You need to make arrangements, which you will have to do before the meeting starts. Number two, check the room's temperature, lighting, and arrangements. Number three, get yourself organized. If you have to distribute certain things, if there has to be a specific order that you need to take care of, then just arrive early and make sure that you're organized. Because if you are leading the meeting and you are organized and you know everything and you know what to do, the meeting will run smoothly. And remember, always when they enter, because you arrived early, you'll be the first one to be there. And when the participants enter, remember to greet them. All right, introductions. As we have discussed this earlier too, that the person of greatest importance or authority should be introduced first. So if there's a manager standing and the assistant manager standing and the subordinate standing, then in that case, you should introduce the manager first to whoever. And remember, we're talking about business etiquette. Gender or age is not a deciding factor at all. So if the manager is a lady or if the manager is a man, it doesn't matter. Whoever is senior, introduce them first. And when a client is involved, mention him or her first, obviously. And a proper business introduction should be made, including the first and the last name. Remember that. Don't go on the first name basis. You keep it either Mr. and the surname, Mrs. and the surname, or Miss or the surname, or you say Miss full name, Mrs. full name, and Mr. full name. All right. In my case, it's going to be Mr. Amit Dubey and Mr. Dubey and not Amit. So some people can get offended, especially the senior level people. So just be very, very careful. All right. This is a little quote on being respectful. All right. It says putting your phone away and paying attention to those talking to you. Now there's an app for that, which is called respect. So remember that always. It's very important. taking MOM, which is minutes of meeting. Now, it is absolutely important. Why? We'll discuss the reasons in a bit. But before that, let's understand what do you include in the MOM, all right, which is minutes of meeting. Number one thing to remember to do is to write when was the meeting, when was it, okay, and then you write who attended the meeting, who were the participants. Then you mention who did not attend or who could not come and the reasons. Then next thing that you would want to mention is what topics were discussed, what was decided. So what was the agenda and what was the outcome? What actions were agreed upon? What were the solutions that were highlighted? And who is to complete what actions and by when? Remember, who suggested the solution and who will actually do it and by when. Deadline is important. And remember also, deadline is important. Also, what materials to be distributed at the meeting? If they were, what kind of material? What were the copies? What were agreements were shared? If so, what copies? And you can send a link also of the copy if possible. And other than that, you could mention, is there anything special the reader or the minutes should know or do? So is there anything very important, very crucial that you think that should be put in? Please go ahead and do that. And if a follow-up meeting is required, then you write that and you say that, when is it scheduled and where is it scheduled and why is it scheduled, what's the reason, what's the purpose, and who all are invited. So these are the things that you need to bear in mind when you actually write the minutes of meeting. Now I'll share few do's of MOM. Number one, the MOM should be written within 48 hours. Now you might first think that what's the need to write MOM? The reason being that MOM is written in the first place to make sure that everybody has understood what the outcome was the meeting. Okay, and it acts also like a reminder. Also, if somebody has agreed or disagreed to something, right? So this MOM is a proof to it. Tomorrow they cannot say, no, I didn't agree to it, or they can't say I disagreed to it, right? So that this acts as a proof. Also, why within 48 hours is because, see, there's so much of information. People see so much, they observe so much, they attend so many meetings, they read so much, they tend to forget certain things. So when you write it within 48 hours, it acts as a reminder and people will have it in mind, oh yes, this is what happened and this is how we need to take it forward. Also remember to use positive language. Instead of saying or describing the discussion as heated or angry, you could use positive words like passionate and lively and energetic. All right, good. Now, what are the don'ts of MOM? Number one is you should not skip it. That's the first rule. You should not skip writing MOM. Number two is because it is MOM, you don't have to describe all the details like he said this and she said this and that happened. No, just what happened, what was discussed and what was the outcome, what was the solution, what was the final decision made, and what's the next step. All right, and also just save embarrassment and don't mention things like somebody cried or somebody was exasperated, because then when people will read it, they will find a reason to laugh at these people and they will not personally like it. All right, so these are the do's and the don'ts. In a meeting, you must listen. Drinking, yes, coffee or tea and water is absolutely allowed. You can carry them with you. You can take notes. You can be prepared. That's very important. If something is given to, if you are about to attend a meeting and some material is given to you and the agenda is given to you, make sure that you do your research, you do the due diligence, and you go well prepared so that you can ask the right questions. That's the next point. Now, what you're not supposed to do is talk constantly. You are disrupting the entire meeting, and eating is not allowed in the meeting. Now, if there are these American style of meetings where eating and sipping a coffee and discussing is allowed, but not every time. If nobody else is doing it, you're not supposed to do it. Even if you've not had your lunch or your dinner, fine. You'll have it after the meeting, but not during the meeting. Check your phone. This is something you should not do, because that leads to, you will yourself be distracted and you're not doing justice to yourself. Forget about others. Others, yes, they will get furious if you do that. Don't be late. You're not supposed to be late. And even if you're late, remember, you have to give a reason for why and do not repeat it again. Okay, and lastly, interrupt. Let people talk. You don't have to interrupt them. Let them complete, and then you can ask questions. Don't stop them unless they tell you that you can stop me and ask questions.